There's nothing common about this morning's guest, except for one thing. Who is he? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Carolina Trust Federal Credit Union on 21st Avenue in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on Air Force Base redevelopment and the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base, and we're visiting with the Executive Director of the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base Redevelopment Authority, Buddy Styers.
Good morning.
Good morning, Buddy.
Good morning. Nice
and the project manager for development for the Market Common, which is kind of the exciting thing that we're all thinking about now, Buddy.
You know, sometimes I have difficulty remembering which hat I have on. I'm thinking about having one with two bills.
Oh, yeah.
And I can do them like this.
I love it. I love it. You should. We should have won that this morning. That's right. Early on a Thursday morning.
You bet.
We've got Mayor Rhodes coming in tomorrow, and of course, I know he is so excited about the Market Common and what's happening out there, the real incredible partnership between the city of Myrtle Beach and McCaffrey Interests. And of course, all of this got started thanks to the tremendous redevelopment of the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base Redevelopment Authority, which you've been in the role since, is it August 95?
Since August of 95.
Which is incredible.
Sure
Think about
first
that.
and only executive director. And what's made our success is that, truthfully, I had a wonderful staff, dedicated, committed, loyal, and I also had just a tremendous number of unpaid volunteers that made up my board. Mr. Harold Stowe, Robert Castles, General Bob Reed, people like that, Phil Stovey. All of these people made it possible for the staff to do what we did, and I'm not saying anything about them for any reason except they deserve a just tremendous amount of credit for paying attention to business and keeping us focused on getting the job done, regardless of pretty much ever of the politics of it.
We should have spent a week there at your old office years ago before you began slowing down on things a little bit, because there should have been an opportunity to highlight folks like Harold Stowe, the chairman who was on board for as long as he was, but as well as Betty and Sandra and Bill and even Julie and others that were there in the office with you for as many years as they were, to really make sure the disposition of this incredible Air Force base happened properly, happened for the good of the citizens, not only for the city of Myrtle Beach, for the county of Horry and the state of South Carolina. So,
well, you know, the law, Title 31, Chapter 12 of South Carolina law that established us says that's what we're to do. We were to focus on creating jobs to replace those lost, which the Air Force only had 800 civilian jobs here. All, of course, the military folks moved on to other jobs, but we lost those 800 jobs. By last count, 3 months ago, we've created more than 2,400 jobs out there.
Wow.
And then the second focus is to enhance the local tax base.
Yes.
When you consider that the 3,900 acres of what was the former base paid zero real property taxes. And now that it's closed and paying taxes, all of the businesses out there that have purchased property from us, all of those are paying per year in excess of $3 million a year in real property taxes alone, not counting personal property, construction permits, and business licenses, and none of that revenue was possible as long as it was a federal installation. Now it is. And when the Market Common finishes, just the Market Common and the Lennar homes should create annually $10 million a year in real property taxes alone.
And when you say the Lennar homes, is that the Withers Preserve?
Well, Withers Preserve owns a portion of it, but the Lennar homes is the project for right now 250 acres nearest the Market Common.
Nearest to the Market Common.
Yes.
But that is separate and distinct from the Market Common.
Yes, it is. It's separate and distinct.
So
the Market Common will be approximately 500,000 plus square feet of commercial and retail space and about 1,800 residential units, apartments, townhomes, condominiums.
Wait, say that again, buddy. Those are incredible numbers. You said 500,000 of commercial and retail square feet.
That's correct. And about 1,800 residential units, townhomes, 186 apartments for people that would like to live in town, be
Right.
able to walk to the bank, to the restaurant, to the grocery store.
Sure. Just within the 115 acres of
Yes.
the Market Common. You were
Yes.
kidding.
Yes.
To think about the opportunity that's going to happen on what is the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base with Lennar and Withers Preserve and the Market Common, as well as the 800 homes of Seagate Village.
Well, in addition to the 115 acres for the Market Common, there's an additional 900 acres still to be developed. Lennar has 250, and the Withers Preserve has about 750.
That is incredible.
It's going to be something that's going to change the face. I think, having grown up here and having
Oh, yeah.
lived here since the mid '50s, it's going to change the face of Myrtle Beach because there is not anything like this here at all at the beach,
No.
and it's just going to be a wonderful place where people can live, work, and play, and really enjoy life out there. The city's done a terrific job, Greg, with the parks and improving
Right.
the recreation opportunities. They're going to renovate the gymnasium out there.
Oh, yeah.
Redevelopment Authority is putting about $2,950,000 in that project.
Is that right, buddy? I
City's
need
going
to
to put about $3 million in it. That'll
renew
be
my
terrific.
gym membership.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
It'll be fantastic. It has been just a tremendous thing, though, that we are, and what I was starting to say a minute ago was you talked about focusing on what's in the best interest of citizens, quality of life, and that's what the authority concentrated on.
Right, right.
Done just a terrific job. We've spent close to $30 million on public
On
infrastructure,
infrastructure, yes.
roads, water, sewer, stormwater. On top of that, $3.7 million to Horry Georgetown Tech
Oh, yeah.
to convert the hospital for the Spear Medical
Right, the
Science
Robert
Training
Spear
Center.
facility, which will be
Yeah.
incredible.
which will be open next spring.
Is that right? We're a year away from that.
A year
so it'll
away from that.
dovetail
It's
around.
already under contract with
Oh, yeah.
Allen Hay
I
Construction.
drive by it every morning.
Yep. They're working real hard on it. Hope to open it in the spring. It's going to be fantastic.
It is amazing, buddy. I mean, we could just sit here for 30 minutes literally and talk about that because the excitement of that area, and that's what we want to do. When you think about, for you, when you joined as the executive director of the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base Redevelopment Authority in August of '95, and remember driving on the base and the circuitous route you'd have to go through to get to your office versus now you can enter from Ocean Boulevard and exit on the bypass in a matter of minutes.
It's real interesting. In 1961, I worked for General Telephone collecting money from pay telephones, and one of the places I had to collect was on the base,
Right.
at the base exchange. So I've been going on that base since the early 60s.
Oh, yeah.
And there are military folks that stop by today that said, I was stationed here in the 60s or whatever. I can't find where I am. I lived in a barracks, and they were somewhere, but I don't know where they were.
Yeah.
And it is a tremendous thing, and I think the progress is is just going to be unbelievable. I think I remain staunchly convinced that the McCaffrey people are honest and above board.
Oh, yeah.
And doing this
For the right reasons.
for the right reasons. And as I mentioned to you, with that 500,000+ square feet of commercial retail space, we've got 66% of it executed, leased right now.
Done already, locked
Already.
up, totally committed.
We've already gone vertical with two of the first buildings that we're doing, and if you ride by, you can see the big crane out there. And,
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful. We should have filmed out there today.
Yeah, it would have been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Great day.
Absolutely, absolutely. On a Thursday here, it is so perfect. When you think about all the activities, and now, do you ever go back and you remember, of course, where your office was, the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base Redevelopment Authority office, for as long as it was on that street, and as the barracks began to fall, and as everything around you began to fall, and even now it has disappeared, and you all are in some other space there. And, of course, it's important to point out that is your hat for one day a week, essentially.
Well, I remain committed to the Redevelopment Authority, and I've given them my word that I'm going to be here until we close the door for the very final time.
Oh, yeah.
And but the opportunity, I had never given any consideration that there might be something with the Market Common for me to do. I never even thought about it. Dan McCaffrey, president of the company, called me back before Christmas, first week in December, told me he needed a senior project manager and would I be interested in, knowing full well that I've been talking to the authority since last summer about the fact that we were really getting down to where there was not a real work to do, you know, and I started letting people go. Sandra Carr, who had been the clerk and the secretary to the authority for probably 7 years.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I had to let her go, and then Bill Hicks was our operations and maintenance guy for 11 years. I let him go because he didn't have one full, when we didn't have a project to oversee, and Bill oversee every project out there, the construction, tenant liaison, management, and all of that. He did that.
Sure.
And then so right now it's pretty much me and Betty Ballou, who's our director of finance and administration.
Absolutely.
And we're both going to stay there until the bitter end, as we would put it. You know, we all took the job clearly understanding that there would be a day.
Sure, you'd phase that out.
When
That's
we would work ourselves out of a job.
And even Fred Glover worked himself out of a job by helping up.
And when Fred left about 3 years ago, I really, at that time, only had 3 pieces of property left to sell. As it stands today, this Thursday morning, I have 1 piece of property left to sell. I will probably get title from the Air Force late this year. It's under contract to be sold, and that's it. Mostly everything else we're doing now is still continuing to be the point of contact with the city and the Air Force to make sure that everything stays on track, and pay bills of the money that we've committed to the city for Crabtree, to Horry Georgetown Tech, for the hospital, and maybe to the airport. We've committed $10 million.
Is that right? $10 million to the
if it comes to pass, we'll be putting $10 million into some unfunded priority projects that they need but don't have money for. So,
well, that's fascinating. So there's still at least those funds available to help out the airport or wherever the needs would be for the city and the county.
I would like to see us, one of the major projects that I think still needs to be done is the extension of Harrelson Boulevard from the terminal to Kings Highway. And I would, right now, the county and the city have an agreement that when the new terminal is operational, then the county has a responsibility to extend it. And I would like to see us be a part of that. I think, at least in my mind, and that is probably one more thing that we can be a part of that will mean a great deal. And every closed installation has the same problems because for a military installation you need limited access. Now we need to open it up so people can get from one side of Kings Highway to
the bypass right over there. And would its terminus be there close to the Huffman helicopters, or would it be
that
a little
is
closer
undecided
up to
at this time.
Exxon,
we worked very hard to come up with a footprint for it, but the city council didn't approve it, and now it's going to be something the city council and the county council have to work out exactly where it's going to intersect.
Can hold hands
Kings
on
Highway.
that. Buddy, about yourself, you talked about growing up here in Myrtle Beach.
I did. I graduated from Myrtle Beach High in 1959.
Is that right? You're dating yourself.
Seems like a century ago.
I know.
I know I don't look like it.
I know. No, that's right. You sure don't. You sure don't. And
Thank
of course,
you. Thank you. I didn't say that, so you
No.
That's
That's right. We got that out. 59. And of course, when you think about the experiences for you, and now your bride of so many years, and did y'all meet down here in Myrtle?
We really did. Believe it or not, we met upstairs in the pavilion in June of 1961. My side of the story is she asked me to dance. Her side of the story is, why would she need dance band? So we're never going to agree on that, but we've been married for 43 years.
Is that
this
right?
August, and have 2 children. They both fortunately live here. Our daughter is a nurse at Waccamaw Hospital in Merle's Inlet.
Is that right? Great.
And has our one beautiful grandbaby, Lily Gray.
Oh, yeah.
And it's life right now couldn't be any better.
That is tremendous, absolutely. And you guys have been here in the area continuously since. I mean, you surely left for a while. But
well, after graduation from Erskine College in '64, we got married. I joined the Air Force, and we were gone until 1992.
Okay.
And I retired with 26 years service in '92. And
wow.
Moved back to the beach and was very fortunate. I worked for PPM Cranes as an HR and safety director, and worked for Franz Mustard at the Sands Oceanfront.
Right.
As an HR director, and then this absolutely wonderful opportunity came along for me, and it was a perfect fit. Obviously, my Air Force career didn't hurt in my dealing with the Air Force,
right.
And I do have a master's in public administration, so
even better, sure.
And then, of course, being a base commander at my last 2 Air Force assignments, I understood management and the process, and all of that just fell right into place, and it just couldn't have been better.
Absolutely. And of course the redevelopment authority was set up, and you had for the board there, it was set up by appointment from the state, the county, and the city. Is that right?
Well, the Title 31 Chapter 12 allows the city to appoint 3, the county to appoint 3, our legislative delegation appoints 2, and then the governor appoints 1.
Okay.
And the governor's appointment, of course, is Harold Stowe, and he has been a fantastic chairman.
He was the chairman from the beginning?
He has been the chairman since
Is
the very
that
beginning.
right?
We have 3 members that have been since the very beginning.
Who are those 3?
George Graham, an attorney from Conway, retired Air Force 4-star General Bob Reed, and Harold Stowe have been on the redevelopment authority since the very
That's
beginning.
a retired 4-star general.
Yes.
I don't think we need to get Bob Reed on Carolina People sometime.
He would love to be on here. He is a tremendous guy, and just what was interesting to me when I got into Mr. Clay Britton, Senior, helped me get to the right people just to get to talk to on this. And about the 3rd person I met was General Reed, who I worked for in the Pentagon when he was a 3-star.
Is that right?
I didn't even know he lived here.
Oh, yeah.
I knew he had retired
right.
from the Air Force, but I did not know he lived in Myrtle Beach until that interview.
How exciting. He has been here then for a good while.
He has been here since 92 or 3. I think he retired about that time.
Around the same time the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base was
just in
shutting
they
down
had
its
been
operation.
announced for closure.
Right.
We were, of course, on the 2nd list for closure, which was 1990, I believe. And the base closed in March of 93.
Right.
And the law that established us was enacted in July of 94, and I was hired in August of 95. And it's been a great trip.
Oh, yeah.
So
very
unbelievably
definitely.
exciting, challenging. It was very difficult finding ourselves sometimes between the city council, the county council,
Sure.
the Air Force,
Oh,
EPA,
yeah.
DHEC, Department of Defense, you name it. It was often tense, but
Yes.
I do have to tell everybody that the community and all of the entities in it worked real hard to use and put the base to use in the best interest of the community. That's why
Clearly.
we have parks out there, ball fields, recreation opportunities, just a tremendous number of things to improve the quality of life for all our citizens.
Well, with this tremendous uptick of persons that will be moving into the former Air Force Base, whether it is the existing Seagate Village, the expansion of the Market Common, the Lennar property, the Withers Preserve. You know, we think about, for instance, Wilson Kane, the last service as a South Strand a representative on City Council. There hadn't been a South Strand representative in quite a while, but of course there'll truly be a need.
Well,
and probably a good person elected from that area over time.
I hope the city council and the city people will think about that when, with 4,500 approved residential units to be out there. If that's just 2 people per unit, that's 9,000 people.
Oh, yeah. It's going to
that
totally...
will be Myrtle Beach citizens will be paying Myrtle Beach
I mean,
property taxes and all.
That will almost take it up a good 50%. I mean, that's the permanent population's in the mid-20s, low 20s.
26, I think.
Is that right? Sure.
My memory. But add 9,000 voters to that, perhaps.
Wow, yes.
It could become real important in the politics of Myrtle Beach.
Sure, very definitely. Well, that's something we'll have to highlight with Mayor Rhodes tomorrow.
I think it would be a good question to ask him.
Yeah, that's right. What's going to happen?
Has he thought about that?
I know he's excited about Market Common. I'm sure he'll mention that tomorrow.
Well, that. Speaking of the Market Common and the City Council, I think that the City Council deserves a tremendous amount of credit for being willing to take on the responsibility of establishing the Market Common. The law allows a tax increment finance plan, which means McCaffrey is spending well in excess of $100 million of private investment to create taxes that will pay for the $43 million of public infrastructure.
Okay.
And the city did a tremendous job, I would say, of protecting itself and ensuring that they cannot be hurt and the citizens of Myrtle Beach can't be hurt should something bad happen.
Not
they
would,
did a tremendous. It took a long time.
Yes.
It took probably a year longer than we all would have hoped it would take, but I think it was all done in good faith and with strong people on both sides.
Yes.
And of course, the final vote for it, as I recall, was 5-2.
Is that
the City Council.
But even for those lone dissenters there, it's still good that they were bringing up good questions, I'm sure.
And it was all done in good faith
on behalf of the city. Right. Absolutely. So kudos to whoever the existing 7 council persons were, 6 plus the mayor at that time, because I'm sure they really pushed it through for the right reason.
It was, and it was not, it was, at the time all of that was going on, I saw myself as being on the fence. I wasn't with McCaffrey and I wasn't with the city.
Cheerleader for both sides.
I told them I was with both sides because I desperately wanted to see this come to pass. And it took an unbelievable amount of effort and hard work by Mike Chestnut and Susan Means and Chuck Martino and Render and the whole bunch of them really worked hard to do what they felt was best for the community. And I think right now they would tell you they're all happy with what's going on. I think they will
gotta be thrilled.
Be much happier come April of 2008 when we have our...
Yes, let's talk about that. We just got a couple of minutes, buddy. The hat that you're wearing much of the rest of the week, project manager for the Market Common.
It is a tremendous opportunity for me to... Interestingly, I moved to the beach in 1954 as I started the 8th grade. My dad bought a motel down here, Smith Motor Court. They were just starting building the base in the summer of '54.
Wow.
So then I come back in '92 and I'm able to be a part of closing it down.
Yes.
And now I've got an opportunity to finish the rebuilding of it.
Wow.
Which I don't know what more you could want out of life.
I'm sure your dad's smiling down on you.
Well, Dad had a heart attack in Columbia in 1962 watching my brother play in the state Class A semifinals for basketball championship. Myrtle Beach under Coach Ernie Neal went undefeated that year, 26-0, and won the state Class A championship. But he had a heart attack in the field house at Columbia and died that evening. So,
I'm sorry.
But there's still many people here that say to me, "I was there. I remember it."
Wow.
So. It was nice, but the Market Common is going to be such a tremendous thing, and of course we've announced many of the shops and stores and restaurants. P.F. Chang, China Bistro, Piggly Wiggly goes to the Community Appearance Board today for their first conceptual presentation.
Great.
Tommy Bahama.
You've got some tremendous ones. I know, and even some local operators, the fancy
Jack
steakhouse that'll be
is
there.
going to put a steakhouse and a pizza place out there.
We're going to have to get you back again, buddy, not only to talk about reminiscent of the excitement of the change there on the air base, but also about many of these new leases that'll be signed. I'm sorry we've run out of time.
Well, April 3rd, 2008 is right now is our target date for just a tremendous kickoff and grand opening out there.
Tremendous. We'll all be there to celebrate that. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me this morning. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Buddy Styers coming up next. You know, we didn't get to hear Buddy talk about he and his wife Penny's love of the shag, or about his past presidency of the Grand Strand Family YMCA or of the Myrtle Beach Rotary Club. But you got to hear him talk about 1954 and the construction of the Air Force Base then, and then the shutting down of the Air Force Base in 93, and then the beginning of the rebirth in 95, when in August of that year he took over as executive director of the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base Redevelopment Authority. Think of that. Think of all that progress that's happened in the last 12 years. That one roadway that goes from Ocean Boulevard out to the bypass, and the excitement of tremendous developers like McCaffrey Interest and the Withers Preserve Group and Lennar Homes and all the folks, David Douglas and others, that made Seagate Village a reality, as well as many of the small business owners that populated lots of the buildings and still live and work there every day. Think of those differences that have been made and the differences that will be made in years to come as 9,000 people overtake that area and make it their home. Buddy Styers, thanks for everything.